we do it live. We're doing it live here on the show. All right. Okay. We are live, Little Joan. We are live. Also, guest dog is here. Oh, wait, forgot to do this. Do that. And then do this. I was watching Fails. And I'm ready. Ready. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live early today, Sunday at 1 p.m. Listening to music and checking the internet, and I got a little ahead of myself. So I am now live, getting ready for the Super Bowl here in the frozen waste of South Jersey. Let me know. Joan and I are live. Hollywoke hot take live right now. There we go. Okay. Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Now we're doing it early live, so we're gonna have strange numbers within. I don't think they're quite all in, but most of them are in. So we should get at least an idea of the box office this week. One key movie that's not in yet is Iron Lung, and I don't know why. Could it be that Hollywood's trying to spike Iron Lung because it was an indie movie, and this is a real threat to Hollywood? This Iron Lung was only, if you look at last week's box office, and there's always money that trickles in after the live stream on Monday. So you could see here, it's only off by $1 million, right? So this is Send Help was the number one movie last week. Iron Lung was only a little, slightly less than $1 million below it. And it was in 400 fewer theaters, 450 fewer theaters. And if you do the math on that, what would that be? That's, you got to figure that 450 theaters would probably tie, if not just barely beat, the Sam Raimi movie Send Help, which is very interesting. So Iron Lung is, and the guy producing Iron Lung and making it, does he star in it? I think he stars in it too. He's been offered, obviously, deals, and I believe in an interview he announced that he's not interested in any Hollywood deals. So, very interesting. Oh, come on. Be interesting if this site worked. Let me just do another double check here. Yeah, I don't see Iron Lung on this list at all. So for a movie, an independent movie, to open that strong, even in this incredibly bad climate of movies, really sends a message to Hollywood like, you guys are lame. You know, I mean, I like Sam Raimi. I think Send Help is probably a pretty watchable movie. I mean, I like the premise. I just don't think that it's a movie premise. Feels like more of a Twilight Zone episode. They extended into a movie. And in fact, somebody told me there is a very similar movie out there already. So, but Iron Lung is pretty original. I can't even really figure out what it's about. It's this weird movie based on a video game where they send a guy in a submarine onto a planet that has a sea of blood. So that sounds pretty creepy. But it also sounds very different, right? You know, it's going to be on an alien world, and a lot of it takes place in the sub, and that many people went to go see it shows you that, you know, Hollywood is just toast. It's just cooked. If this kind of thing keeps happening. Now, I think a lot of these bigger movie companies. Sorry, I have the window open. I'm getting distracted by people walking by. Um, a lot of these bigger studios, I think they may eventually get the message there's no money in movies, right? Or there's no real money, not like before. And you're going to see people, I think, investors just get out of the movie industry. And it's going to shrink, which in the short term will probably be good for the movie industry because you have a lot of bloated budgets. By having a tighter budget, it forces you to be more creative. The people who you would consider nepo babies or terrible hacks, they're not going to wander into the movie industry trying to get gigs anymore. They are going to go for wherever the power is, wherever the real money is. Now there'll always be nepo babies in the movie industry, but like when you look at some of the big names who are just complete hacks, and you know who they are, you know who I think they are, some of them anyway. Those guys, I don't think they're in the movie industry for the movies. I think they're in it for the ego, boo, and the money. Mostly the money. And so when the money goes out of this industry, they look for bigger money elsewhere, right? So if the deal is you can make, let's say, $5 million on a movie, but you can make $50 million on some sort of real estate deal or a government contract, which one are you going to go for? If art means nothing and it's all about money, you're obviously going to go for the more moneyed thing. And what that will leave behind are the people who actually want to make movies, because they've been in it for the movies, not for the money. I mean, again, they want to make money too, but they don't. Money is not their ultimate priority. And I can relate to that as a writer and creative person myself, because I do this stuff because I love it. I want to make money so I can live. But, I'm not, like, money's not the focus. If money was my focus, I wouldn't be doing this. I would be doing real estate deals and working a gig. That's where money is. Buying and selling stocks, that kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see. But at the same time, why isn't Iron Lung on this list? It could just be that it's an independent movie. It took them longer to report their sales, and it's just not on the list yet. I don't think it was a 1 week release thing. I think it would have to go at least 2 weeks. It was the number 2 movie in America. So it may just be, it just hasn't been reported yet, because I've been seeing other movies pop up all afternoon morning, as I was getting ready and then getting distracted and being late. Sorry about that. All right, but let's get into it. Maybe somebody will drift in. Maybe everybody's getting ready for the Super Bowl. I don't know. First up is Send Help. Okay, so this is the second week at number 1. It only drops by 48%, so that's good. The movie has legs. People like it. And I don't blame him. Again, Sam Raimi's a creative guy. He hasn't been completely destroyed by Hollywood, I think. But Send Help really feels like another Drag Me to Hell. Like, Drag Me to Hell, I complain about because I think the Rotten Tomatoes score was way too high, and it wasn't that good of a movie. It was a Twilight Zone episode. But it wasn't the worst movie I ever saw, and certainly if that movie had been a half-hour episode on the Twilight Zone, I would have liked it. This, I feel, is like in a very similar vein. The premise is Rachel McAdams is a worker at this big company. Her boss is a younger guy who treats her terribly and tells her, you're going to be fired soon. They go on a final business trip in a private jet. It crashes on an island somewhere. They're the only 2 survivors. The boss is injured, and he's dependent upon Rachel McAdams, and the status between them in their relationship changes. So immediately now, well, not immediately, but over the course of the movie, she becomes in charge and he is beholden to her. And now he's reaping the wind of treating her poorly, but looks like she goes too far with it. So, yeah, we're in our second week here. Is this thing going to make any money, though, is the question. We're at $53 million on a movie that cost, we don't know. If I had to guess, probably I'm going to guess like 40 million. Let's ask the AI. What's the budget for the movie Send Help? I'm going to say 40 million, probably. 40 million. Boom. Nailed it. Nailed it. All right, so 53. We're at 53. Got to get to 80 to break even. And 100 really to make any money. So, yeah. Probably not going to make it. Next week, does another 10 worldwide. That puts you 63, maybe 70. Week after, another 5, put you at 75, maybe 80. Week after that, 2. And so I don't think it's going to make its money back. It's close. Maybe, on streaming, it would make up the difference, but yeah, it doesn't look too good. Next up, number 2 is probably Iron Lung. I'm going to guess. Iron Lung probably had a drop off, and similar to Send Help. I don't think it will have as much legs as Send Help. Send Help got way more advertising. And the thing about Iron Lung is one of the reasons it probably did well, and I don't see it down here either. One of the reasons it probably did well is because the fans of the video game all ran out to see it, but now they've all seen it, or most of them, unless there's like 100 million fans of that movie and they couldn't get in last week. I feel like the drop-off will be pretty sheer on Iron Lung. It might even be like 3rd or 4th, but I think it'll probably be 2nd. But number 2, as of now, is Solo Mio from Angel Studios. Oh, this is from Angel Studios. It's a rom-com starring Kevin James. Looks mildly serious. The synopsis is, when Matt's dreams of a picturesque Italian wedding are shattered when his fiancée leaves him at the altar, he embarks on his planned honeymoon across Italy alone, immersing himself in the country's vibrant culture, food, and beauty, and of course he falls in love. So no idea on the budget there. Solo Mio, I'm going to guess. Now let's keep doing this. This is fun. I'm going to guess. I guess about 40 million on that too. 4 million? You telling me they shot this thing for 4 million? Wow. That's pretty amazing if true. 4 million. Oops. Where the hell was I? Clicked the wrong thing. If that's true, this movie's money, baby. This movie is real money. What the hell did they pay Kevin James? 4 million sounds barely enough money to shoot this thing. They would have had to have paid Kevin James as the lead? They would have had to have paid him, I'd have to believe, at least $500,000 to $1 million. I mean, he's a pretty big name. He's not as big as he was. And this isn't, I don't know, as a lead in a romantic comedy, I would greenlight it for $4 million. It says it drops in April, but it's out now. That's big money if that's true. Next up is a movie I hadn't even heard of. Stray Kids, The Dominate Experience? What the hell is this? 5.5 million. Stray Kids, The Dominate Experience is an epic concert film featuring the global K-pop sensation. Oh, okay, and they're sold out SoFi Stadium performances, behind the scene footage. Okay, so that's some kind of Korean pop band. And see, this is another sign that Hollywood is so effed up. I mean, a Korean pop band is the number 3 movie in America. I mean, and not only an indictment of the movie industry. How about the music industry? That I haven't even heard of these guys. That there's enough fans in America to make this the number 3 movie. Again, it's in February, so it's not like anybody's doing gangbusters. But this film was only in 1,700 theaters. If this was in twice as many theaters, it might be the number 1 movie in America. I doubt it, though. Again, limited fan base, but still. That's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. What the hell is happening? You look at the movies that come out and you just think to yourself, as I have since the 80s, I can easily write better movies than this. I mean, Send Help is probably a well-written movie. Solo Mio is not a well-written movie, in my opinion. It's probably the same old tired tropes. He gets left at the altar, and it's a bunch of romance. Stray Kids isn't even a narrative. So, I mean, the problem is pretty obvious, though. People just aren't seeing movies. They look at the movies that are in the theaters, and they say, I could wait. I can wait, until they come out on the platform at home, especially in this weather. Number 4 is Dracula, again, 4.5 million. Well, I wouldn't say no to a Dracula movie if I was running a studio. You kind of can't beat Dracula or vampires in general. They kind of bring in a steady business. But how many times could you friggin' see this movie? I mean, it's the same movie over and over again. Number 5 is Zootopia, dropping from $4 million. This thing's been in theaters for 11 weeks, which seems like a lifetime these days. I can't imagine this movie back in, say, the 70s when Star Wars come out doing this well. Like, it would be in the movie theaters for 3 years. Star Wars was in movies over a year, I believe. Like, it had been in the theaters so long. Like, they might as well have kept a screen just for Star Wars. But Zootopia, that's we're on next week's the 12th week. So that's 3 months. 3 months. 3 months. See, that's January. So before the holidays, Zootopia dropped. Number 6 is Avatar: Fire and Ash, dropping from 5 in its 8th week. 3.5 million. Again, I hate this franchise. Go away. But premiering at 2, 4, 6, 7 is The Strangers Chapter 3. I don't know which franchise I hate more, Avatar or The Strangers. Probably The Strangers, I guess, although it's probably shorter than Avatar. So if I had to pick one to watch, it would probably be The Strangers. 3.5 million. At number 8, dropping by 56%, is Shelter, Jason Statham's new movie, 2.4 million. Not good. But how many times can you shoot a movie of Jason Statham shooting people in the face? I mean, it's essentially the same movie over and over again. Number 9 is Melania, dropping from 3. 2.3 million. That's a drop of 67%. So that has no legs. But again, I didn't expect it to have legs. They did put it in more theaters in the second weekend. I mean, it did for a documentary. It did pretty well. For as compared to regular movies, it can't really compete. There's only so many people interested in Melania and seeing a movie like this, and so you got 13 million. Now I'm very interested to know what the budget was, but I've heard some conflicting reports. Let's see what the AI says. They're saying 40 million. But again, that seems high. And then, yeah. So they said 40 million, and then a report suggests they spent 35 million on the marketing. I think that's way out of control in terms of pricing. Because again, how much does it cost to shoot a documentary? How much does it cost to send a crew to follow Melania around? Yeah, they're going to be top-notch union guys. They got to go through a bunch of security checks because she's the first lady. It's going to be a little harder because she has probably a very grueling schedule. This was shot during the inauguration, so that puts some more onus on the filmmakers. But really, they're not paying any actors. Who are they going to pay? They're not paying actors. They're just shooting. This is a propaganda piece for the Trump admin. Perfectly fine with. I can't imagine they paid the Trumps any money. I mean, they might have paid them something, but still, $40 million. I'd be shocked if this thing cost $4 million. And it's not like you need a lot of rights or anything. So I feel like 40 million's like that can't be right. It can't be. Unless Trump said, you got to pay us $30 million to shoot this thing. Somewhere around number 9 or 10 is The Housemaid, 1.8 million. Still hanging around, and it's 8th week. And they got a sequel in the works for this. I would greenlight a sequel. After that is The Moment. The Moment, 1.6 million. And jamming this in a bunch more theaters in its second week. It ruins the percentage. What was this one? A rising pop star navigates the complexity of fame and industry pressure while preparing for an arena tour. Oh yeah, this is Charlie XCS. So she has a lot of fans. That's sort of a built-in fan base there. Then there's Marty Supreme, 1.3 million in its 8th week. 147 million. Still not enough for profit. I mean, this thing costs 70 million. Really needs to do 175. But it's close. Probably close enough. Because again, the formula is 2 times the production budget, because the idea is they only make half as much money on the the tickets, right? So there's that, and then they spend allegedly, according to the formula, half the production budget on advertising, another half, right? But depending on the company, they may not need to do that. Or they're spending the money on their own company to advertise it. So if ABC promotes a Disney movie, that's all the same company. So while Disney probably pays, for the trailer to be cut and aired on ABC, it's all essentially being done in-house. So you're only transferring some money out of one studio, putting it in to the television division. So what? You're still making the money. You're losing money in the transaction, but it's still floating around inside your company. So it's almost not an expense when you look at it that way. Not really. Somewhere around number 12 is Hamnet, 750K. Another piece of Oscar bait. Then there's Whistle premiering somewhere around number 13. This is about a death whistle. God, I've been seeing this trailer forever. Opens at $720K. You know, it's a horror movie. Kind of a standard horror movie. Looks like it's going right to streaming. Nothing to write home about. It's on the IFC. Number probably like 14 is 28 Years Later to Bone Temple. $480K. Finally, this movie's going away. So, $56 million on a budget of, I gotta know the budget of this. 28 Years Later, the Bone Temple. 30 million, maybe? 63 million. And they spent allegedly 70 million on marketing. That can't be right. I don't think that's right. But 63 million sounds about right for the movie, except they also shot the other movie. They overlapped with the actors and the sets. So some of this stuff, you know, unless they just paid for the sets to be built twice, but they only built them once, which I kind of doubt. So, probably didn't cost that much, but I don't know. Ralph Fiennes is all over both of these movies. But this movie, you couldn't pay me to say it. After that, so it's not going to make any money if it's a $63 million budget. No way. Anaconda surprisingly made money. $305K. Afterwards, yeah, $131K on a budget that I think was 40 million, something like that. Yeah, 45. So this movie made money. I hope they don't make a sequel, but they might. Pillion. This is sort of a gay rom-com thing. With the guy from True Blood, I forget his name, the actor. 1.7 million. It's an indie movie, but that's probably not money because you'd recognize the co-lead in this movie. It's premiering at 241K. I mean, overseas it made over $1 million, but yeah, I can't imagine this thing cost less than 10 million, 5 million, at least 5 million. I mean, it's an indie movie, so maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's like 3 or 4 million, but Sponge. Let's check. I'm gonna say Pillion. I'm gonna say. I'll say 3 million. $1 million. Okay. Well, that makes some amount of sense, I guess. You could probably shoot it for $1 million. But it's at 241K, so that's no bueno. Worldwide, it's at 1.7. So it needs to make 2 million, so maybe. Yeah, it's probably on its way. At least to break it even. They did advertise it quite a bit. I did see quite a few YouTube ads, so what is it going to have to make? 2.5 million? It might make that. SpongeBob movie, still in theaters, 220K. Song Sung Blue, still in theaters, 217K. Hugh Jackman, and for some insane reason, Kate Hudson is nominated for an Oscar. No Other Choice, that Korean movie, 206K. Primate, dropping from 14 down to about 20, 185K. Mostly same thing with all these movies. The Secret Agent, which is more Oscar bait, 180K. Scarlet, 165K. What is Scarlet? I forget. Seeing a lot of little movies on this list. Scarlet. No idea. It's only made $329K? That doesn't seem good. Story of a brave princess who transcends time and space. Oh, it looks like a cartoon. Okay. Probably not a great title for a anime movie, I would think. Clicker, which is also a cartoon, 140K. Surat, which is an indie movie, 136K. It's only in 4 theaters, though. So that doesn't look good for Clicker. That's in 202 theaters, and they nearly made the same amount of money. Arco, 124K. David, still in theaters, 112K. Testament of Ann Lee, still in theaters, 104K. Sentimental Value, more Oscar bait, 98K. A Poet, 51K. Kokuho, another cartoon, I believe, 47K. All That's Left of You, 37K. Is this thing on 32K? That's still, man, it's in its 8th week. Magellan, 18K. The Love That Remains, 15K. Natchez, 8K. And Obex, $3,442. Giving us a total box office, again, without Iron Lung, $52,472,431. And I'm going to refresh one more time just to see if it popped up. No. Iron Lung should probably add about another $9 million. Now, this is a slightly better box office than last weekend. Last weekend, we were in the 40s, I believe. Let me just click that real quick. Weren't we in the 40s? No, we were in the 80s. So actually worse. Thinking of the week before, maybe. So 2 weeks ago, we were, 54 million. So this should be like 62 million. Something like that. But not great. Not great. But that's the ongoing story of Hollywood these days. Just not great. Just not great. But, again, Iron Lung gives you some hope, right? If Iron Lung can do well and he can continue to make movies on his own, outside the studio system, and make money, then other filmmakers will say, well, I'm not going to the studio. They're going to change my idea and screw it all up. I'm going to do another movie and another movie. So maybe we're seeing a transition back to indie movies. Maybe. That would be great. It would definitely loosen things up creatively. Just, again, so many people are in this industry, I think, just to make money. They're just ruthless operators, completely focused on the cash. And, here it is, trending movies down here. Let's see, let me see if I click Iron Lung, if we get today's numbers. It's up to 33 million. The opening weekend, okay, I can do the math on this. The opening weekend was 18 million. It's currently sitting at 33 million. So if I subtract the 18, that leaves me with about 15. If I subtract the entire international box office of 3 million, puts it at about 12. Now, some of that was for the week, so yeah, I think this should be at about 9, 8 or 9, maybe 8.8, something like that. Let's see if we can find box office. What is the weekend box office for Iron Lung? 17.8 million. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Let me try in its second weekend. 6 million. Okay. 67% drop, it's saying here on the AI. So that should be in the mix. That should be number 3. Although Solo Mila, all these numbers are an estimate, but it's strange it's not on the list. Oh, Alex Ogle is here. Afternoon, bigots. I had just finished watching Phase 4 and saw Tony is online. Hello. Yes, I'm doing the live stream because it's Super Bowl and everything here grinds to a halt Super Bowl weekend, and I'm going to a party, so I figured I'd do this early. You just missed the box office, which, well, nobody really misses the box office. It's a mess. But Iron Lung again is giving me hope, Alex, that maybe indie movies can make a comeback. As the movie industry dies, indie guys will step up to make movies because they see it as an opportunity to make money, even as the industry dies. And that, of course, makes it more viable, and then the industry may not die. Alex Ogle, yes, Super Bowl. What calamity do you think halftime show will be? Oh, I think, I'm going to a party where it'll be mostly people my age. I don't think they give a flying F about the halftime show. Either way, it's just boring and stupid. Because we're old enough to remember what the old halftime shows would be. And the old halftime shows, yeah, you'd watch the commercials. There'd be a few commercials that'd be wacky. But mostly it was nothing. Like, some band would play, and, even when it was a good band, it was like, all right. And everybody's just going to the bathroom and eating or whatever. They don't really care about the halftime show if they want to watch the game. Alex Ogle, I hear good things about Iron Lung. Yeah. It's different. It sounds different. It's based on a video game. For some reason, it's not coming up in the numbers, but its second week, there was a bit of a drop-off because I think it was based on a video game, and most of the fans of the game probably saw the movie the first weekend, which is why it did so well. So last weekend it did just shy of the number one movie, Send Help. It was about $1 million under, so it was at 17 million. This week it did 6, which isn't great. It's a bit of a drop off, but the movie more than made its money back. That movie cost nothing. In fact, let's ask the AI. What is the budget for the movie Iron Lung? Yeah, I'm not a robot. I don't know why you're asking me that. 3 million. So yeah, this thing made all kinds of money. Mark Plier? He's in good shape. When you make $31 million worldwide on a movie that only costs you $3 million, even with the advertising, and how much advertising could he have had? I did see the trailer on YouTube. I did a thing on it, but I don't think he had any kind of money to advertise this thing. I think it's just pure word of mouth and the fans of the game. So that's a real good conversion. I mean, what an investment, right? Imagine investing something and getting 10 times your investment back. That's really good. So if he could capitalize on this and continue to, but the thing he has to do is he has to continue to make low budget movies. And that's the tough part, right? So his second outing, he could make another $3 million movie, and hell, he might even lose money on it. But it's a tough industry, but it's a really good start, and he has said no to the big studio films, which I respect, but at the same time, the big studio films means big money. And, you know, they can raise his profile up, and he could, make more money, which he could then turn around. I mean, he could do both. I would think. I mean, a lot of times Hollywood's going to pressure you into some sort of exclusive deal, but maybe he's just positioning himself so he could do both. But what I would do is, yeah, I would take a big deal after this movie, get a big payday, try to do a good movie. I mean, that's part of the problem. Like, Hollywood comes to you and they want you to do some woke piece of crap. Yeah, I mean, turn it down. But it's not always the case. I mean, they do stuff that is mostly apolitical, or, they're not going to do anything super based, but they might do something that's not embarrassing. Especially if he's going to, I mean, it's likely they would say, oh, we got another video game, we want you to do the movie. Some horror video game, right? And he makes it, gets a big payday, he could turn it around and put it into, another low budget film, or again, like, capitalize on the the cachet of doing whatever IP Hollywood throws at him. But there's also a risk in it that he could be tied up in development forever and spend 3 years of his life working on a project he's not proud of, and it doesn't do well, and it's forgotten, and he makes a bunch of money, but now he's lost all his momentum. So, but it is a risk to go it alone. Alex Ogle, in the absence of good writing, I'd settle for something challenging and original. This seems like both. I've heard great things. I mean, it's crazy. It's like the character goes to a planet, and there's a sea of blood, and he has to go down into the Iron Lung, which is the submarine, into the sea of blood for reasons I'm not sure. So, sounds kind of crazy. But let's check the trades and see what other craziness happens. Paul Thomas Anderson wins the DGA award for One Battle After Another. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen at the Oscars with One Battle After Another. Do you think One Battle After Another, that everybody's talking about, will win the Oscar because One Battle After Another is constantly being pushed? Pathetic. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg win for the studio. Amanda Marshall wins for the pit. So, the same people over and over again. Iron Lung should win something, I think, simply because it comes out of nowhere and hits big. That to me that's an award-winning movie. People coming out of nowhere to do something different and people go see it. That's impressive. Leonardo DiCaprio adapting a book along with Paul Thomas Anderson called One Battle After Another, and they didn't even adapt it correctly, it sounds like. And it's all about communism. Doesn't deserve any awards, not in my view. But the studio couldn't be more repetitive in my view. All about the industry. And the pit, that just sounds derivative as F too, but people like it. I mean, I don't fault people for liking things that are derivative. I like derivative things sometimes, but giving it awards is like, huh? Couldn't they have a special award like, best directed TV show based on derivative material? Like, that's the way I would want it worded. This week, we had the Melania movie controversy. Alex Ogle, didn't Paul Thomas Anderson used to be a good director, or at least of good films? Let's take a look at his record. He did direct some things I like, I think. He directed Boogie Nights. There it is. Paul Thomas Anderson. All right, let's go through his career real quick. So going back to 1988, he did the Dirk Diggler story, which eventually led to Boogie Nights, which was his big hit. That was his big hit. Cigarettes and Coffee, I saw that. It was watchable. It wasn't great. Hard Eight, I'm not sure what that is, but I vaguely remember hearing about it. Michael Penn, Try, a music video. Boogie Nights. A couple of music videos. Fiona Apple music video. Magnolia. I hear good things about that. It's a bit of a you either love it or hate it kind of movie, I hear. Did Fiona Apple. I think he date Fiona Apple. That's why he did her music videos. An SNL, some SNL segments. Fiona Apple again. The John Bryan Show's podcast. I don't know what that is. SNL. Punch Drunk Love. That was that, I think it was the Adam Sandler movie, right? Where he tried to do something serious. That was 2002. John Bryan, here we go. A music video. Couch. More videos connected to Punch Drunk Love. There Will Be Blood. Oh, right. I forgot he directed that. That's a good movie. I like that. So he's got quite a record. The Master. I really like The Master, too. The Master's a really good... I shouldn't call it a good movie, but it's an amazing performance by Joaquin Phoenix. He's so messed up in it. And what's-his-face is in it, too. What the hell? The guy who died. Philip Seymour Hoffman. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, this was kind of a big deal because The Master was supposedly about Scientology. So I really like that. So this is all 2012. More Fiona Apple. Inherent Vice. I don't know what that is. That was a movie apparently. Junnun. Don't remember that. More music videos. Lots of music videos. Holy crap. Radiohead. Haim. Then Phantom Thread. Don't remember that. Got a good rating on the IMDb, though. Anima. A short. What is this band, Haim? He directs all their videos. Licorice Pizza. I think this is when it started to go downhill. This did not look good. A lot of people praised it. Felt kind of astroturfed. And then more music videos, and then one battle after another. So, yeah, I think he used to be a good director. I don't know. It's not that one battle after another is poorly directed. I think it was fine. I think the movie's probably very well directed. I think it's just his material in Hollywood. Alex Ogle looks like he had a good career until something happened in 2016. Yeah, everybody lost their damn minds. In fact, today, I'm on X, and as I often am, and there's a lot of crap on X, don't get me wrong, but, when you click on someone, they end up in your feed for a while, and it just so happened a past associate of mine who has severe TDS. I mean, severe, sheer TDS. I had clicked on him, and he's making some comments about ICE. Like, he's going on and on. Now, I didn't want to really engage, so I kind of did. I kind of needled him a little bit. He didn't come back or anything. But today, he posted something like, today's going to be the day that MAGA really finds out that the country and the world really don't like them anymore. Which I thought was such a bizarre statement from someone in the bubble, right? Like now, today, because of the Super Bowl, he's saying, because Green Day's going to come up and play a song and blast MAGA, and Bad Bunny's going to do it, and everybody's going to get mad, I guess. I'm pretty sure people are going to be kind of pissed off at Bad Bunny. Simply because, first, he vowed to wear a dress. That was the first thing he did. I don't know. I think he's not going to do that. I think he got the message loud and clear from the guys paying him money. Yeah, don't wear a dress. Then he said you should learn Spanish because I'm going to sing everything in Spanish, which he probably will sing a bunch of the songs in Spanish. To which I say, who cares? I don't care about his music. I again, I'm going to be at a Super Bowl party with older people. They aren't going to care about his music. I know they're not going to care about it. I'd be shocked if anybody's sitting there watching him. I feel like the moment the halftime starts, everybody's going to get up, start talking. The TV's going to get turned down or even changed. It might flip to the TPUSA one, or they might just turn down the sound and we'll just go all eat. So it's like, this guy feels like, oh, this is it for MAGA. Oh, they're going to send a strong message. No. All Green Day, and I don't know when Green Day is going to be on, and Bad Bunny will do is maybe confirm my former associate's TDS, right? So he's at home going, aha, aha, they dissed MAGA, aha. Meanwhile, like nobody cares. Alex Ogle, Queen released the album Sheer Heart Attack, so maybe a new woke band can release Sheer TDS. Yeah. It's funny how that happens. It's just, I have a friend, he hates Trump, but he doesn't have TDS. He's just a Democrat. Now, he doesn't follow politics. I don't think he follows politics very closely. Like, he doesn't follow policy. He's like a lot of people, especially Democrats today. They tend to skim things and they watch the news and they're still watching TV. They're still reading newspapers. And, it's like the old saying, those who read newspapers are misinformed, and those who read, which is worse than people who read nothing, right? Because at least the people who read nothing know they're unaware of things. The people who read newspapers are usually so misinformed, they think they know things and they act upon it, and they kind of don't know things. So that's what I feel most people who have TDS have. Like they're just so grossly misinformed, and they're the people, like a lot of people who are misinformed just keep their mouth shut because they don't know necessarily they're that misinformed, but they kind of sense that they are, so they just kind of keep their mouth shut just because they don't want to start. They don't really have TDS. They just, they know what they think they know, and that's it. And they don't want to bother people. But the people who do have the TDS insist on telling everybody, no, you're wrong. So it's like this insecurity with their intellectual curiosity or something. Like they have this deep need to be thought of as smart and good, and the more they're not thought of as smart and good, the more agitated they get, and the more people, I think, pull away from them and go, I don't want to talk to that guy. So like I was tempted to answer my associate's TDS post today, and I stopped myself because I didn't want the backlash. And I didn't want to feed the troll, right? You don't want to feed these people anything because they'll just point at you and go, ha, ha, ha. Well, see, Trump is this or that. And it's just like, you just end up defending some of Trump's worst moments like this week. But, meanwhile, it's like, you feel like you're in a contest for, well, your guy's even worse than mine. Whereas all it should be about is the policy and results when you get right down to it. Because if the policies are working and making people's lives better in general, then, most of the other stuff just doesn't matter. Back when Bill Clinton was president the first term, the economy was doing so well, almost nothing mattered. You know, people loved Bill Clinton, but they didn't really love him. Everything was going well then. It was like the dot-com bubble was growing and growing. People had money. Gas was cheap. I was working nonstop. I was working temp gigs, and I could work on any day, and I could take off any day. It didn't matter. There was so much work around. I could work whenever I wanted. It was amazing. If I wanted to go in one day in a week for 4 hours, I just call up the temp service. They would send me because they had so much work. they would just go, okay, whatever you want. They didn't, and if I said I'm not working on Friday, they'd be like, oh, come on, but I'd be like, no, I can't. I got to do a thing. And they'd be like, okay. They had no choice. They wouldn't fire me. They still would call me because there was just so much work back in the 90s. So it kind of doesn't matter if the money's there. And you think people don't pay attention to politics now. Back then, no one paid attention to politics because things were just going so well. But, oh well, TDS sufferers. All right, anything else in Variety? Oh, more on Savannah Guthrie today. Savannah says they're going to pay the ransom for the return of her mother. Now, I don't think this is going to work in any way, shape, or form. I still don't understand how the police don't know where this woman is. I mean, we live in a world, well, I'm not sure where Alex is, but I know that I live in America, and I literally can't go out my door without being on a camera, because I know for a fact my neighbor across the street has a Ring camera, and he told me, he said, if there's ever a problem at your house, let me know. I have a Ring camera. It faces your house. And he can see my entire house because it's just straight across the street, and we're like practically facing door to door. So, like, there's a literal camera there. I'm sure plenty of my other neighbors have Ring cameras somewhere. There are cameras along certain intersections, even in South Jersey. There's definitely, in the more populated areas you get into, the more there's likelihood of cameras. The bigger businesses, they have cameras. There's cameras everywhere in this country now, like literally everywhere. Every mini mart has a camera. Every gas station has a million cameras. Just cameras. You're telling me they kidnapped this woman from her house. She had a camera, by the way, on her house, which was disconnected, which they kind of knew something if that's the case. But you couldn't go more than a mile from this woman's house without being caught on a camera. There's just no way. There's just no way. Unless this guy had the most amazing route mapped out where he could avoid cameras, and he managed to kidnap this woman in the middle of the night without her making a peep, which I don't know how you do that. It's just, it's insane. It's insane they don't have this guy in custody already. Alex Ogle. Yes, we had issues with broken bottles from our rubbish bins, and a neighbor forwarded footage from his Ring cameras of a homeless man smashing them up. Still not as bad as in the UK. Yeah, UK, you can't walk 2 feet without cameras. So, I don't know how they don't have this guy caught. But that being said, it's just a matter of time. So, the plan apparently is he's asking for a ransom of 6 million Bitcoin. Alex Ogle. However, there's one thing to have video cameras everywhere, but it's a completely different matter to have usable, not grainy or distorted video. It astonishes me how bad security footage still is. That's true. However, I feel like in a kidnapping at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, which is when this happened, there's so few people in the area there'd be very little footage to examine, right? So, for instance, they have some footage of at a gas station, right? And it's taken them days to find it. Like, why wouldn't you go to like the gas stations in the surrounding area immediately? I don't know, but they already got some footage of a car of interest. How could they not find this car? Now, you're right, the grainy footage may not have provided them with a license plate, but still, once you got a vehicle of interest, you can then follow it on a lot of major roadways. Filbert is here. Hello, Mr. Filbert, Coffee Esquire. Once she throws into a white van, what would the camera see? Lesson here is don't try to pinch pennies by hiring illegals. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Oh, everybody's here now. Indie Phantom, what the hell kind of sorcery is? What the hell kind of sorcery is? What the hell kind of sorcery is this? You mean because I'm early? Well, I got to go to Super Bowl party. Alex Ogle, I follow our local police here in Waterloo, and the pictures they upload of people they want to talk to that are barely recognizable. Much better would be to use these pictures to establish movements. You know, another thing is, too, I had to install some security cameras on a place. I can't say any more than that. But these were just bought at, like, Costco. And let me tell you, the footage is in color. It's beautiful. And there's sound. It's crystal clear. And I installed those cameras last summer, and they're rechargeable, and we haven't had to recharge them yet. So the quality of cameras here has greatly improved, especially when you're talking about home security. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like they should have caught this guy already. Mr. Filbert, Coffee Esquire, Super Bowl is for cucks. Yes, I guess. I don't really care about sports ball. What I care about is food. And I have been very clear on this channel. I endorse food. I support food in every possible conceivable way. So I'm looking forward to a delicious snack time. And the only problem I have during the Super Bowl party is stopping myself for going back for thirds, fourths, and fifths before anybody else has had anything. So that's what I do. See, I don't care about the game. So I get my plate of food, and what I like to do is I like to go in first, and I try everything, so I get a little bit of everything, right? And I go, oh, I like that, I don't like that, and I eat stuff. And so that's round one. Then round two, I go back for the stuff I like, depending on what it is. And then as I'm going, and I know I think way too much about food, but as I'm going and looking, I'm also lining up my dessert, because there's sometimes some dessert options. So I'm lining up dessert, but then I'm also saying, okay, what foods am I going to eat to sort of fill me up for like a meal, right? So I'm sort of leaning towards the wings and maybe sliders and something like that's real food. But then I have the other stuff that I like, but it's not good for me, like potato chips. And then sometimes I have to eat stuff because someone made it and they want me to try it, which is fine, because it's usually good too. But then, I start to fill up right around the third plate. And then I don't want to completely fill up because I want some dessert. And then I fill up, and then I'm like sitting there bloated, and it's like not even the end of the first quarter. Indie Phantom, the Guthrie kidnapping is some inside job. Seems like the sister and her hubby accidentally killed the mom, then cooked up a ransom thing. Possibly? I mean, they did find blood at the scene. But if that's the case, they are effed. Like, there's no way they're not effed. Between asking for a ransom and, actually getting it, they are cooked. But they may not be the ones that asked for the ransom. The ransom could be from anybody. This has gotten way too much attention. They already arrested one guy who tried to ransom her, and he had nothing to do with this, other than he called in. Mr. Filbert, Coffee Esquire, I agree there. Indie Phantom, yeah, Super Bowl food is the greatest. Alex Ogle, but Tony, you can't endorse food. You don't believe in pineapple pizza. Where it belongs? Damn it. Pineapple does not belong on pizza. There'll probably be no pizza. I don't think there's going to be pizza, but we have amazing pizza in South Jersey. You don't understand how amazing it is. Like Razor Fist the other day, who lives in Arizona, was talking about how Pizza Hut was closing 250 locations, but Papa John's and Domino's still survive everywhere. To which I said, it's all Metagon garbage. And it is. I wouldn't give you 10 cents for a slice of Pizza Hut. It's no better or worse than Domino's or Papa John's, in my opinion. In fact, I've seen the kitchen in a Pizza Hut. And let me tell you something. It was gross. Because what they spray the pans with, those cast iron pans where they cook the pizzas, they have aerosol butter. And they spray it on the inside of the pan when they cook the pizza, which gives it that crispy stuff. But it says aerosol butter in like, it's like a white label with black lettering. It looks like something out of a Repo Man. So gross. When I saw that, I kind of retched, and I can't really eat Pizza Hut pizza anymore. If I had to pick out of the three, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, or Domino's, I mean, Domino's goes on the bottom. I've had Papa John's that was edible, and I've had some Pizza Hut that was edible, but it was so far back in the day. We have such amazing pizza here. Like, the bar is so effing high. I have a local guy near me, and I hate his pizza because I know he doesn't let the dough rise, and you could taste it. It tastes like cardboard. But he's a nice guy, and once in a while I'll get a pizza. And if you get it hot, it's like passable. But most places around here, the bar is so damn high. If you don't get like an amazing undercarriage and bubbled pizza, with the bubbles in it, you people here just won't go. You'll be out of business in a few months. I can't believe my friend's not out of business, quite frankly. Indie Phantom, I forgot Super Bowl was happening same time as the bloody Olympics. FBI raided their home, which is crazy. Chili is a great Super Bowl food. I had Papa John's last night. Now, what did you think of Papa John's? Here, I've had it like once, I think. It's the sort of thing that I eat when somebody else has it. I would never pick it on my own. Like I have a ranking. This is how obsessed I am with food. I have a ranking for all the local pizza places. So like my top place currently is D'Amico's, which is very near to me. They have a brick oven. They have amazing pizza. The guy who runs the place makes a great sauce. And my favorite to get there is a steak stromboli, which if you don't know what that is, imagine a pizza uncooked, and then they rolled it up, and then they cooked the whole thing, right? And then you slice it up, and it's amazing. So my favorite thing to get from D'Amico's is they have a cheesesteak stromboli with peppers and onions. I don't like peppers, so I don't get the peppers, but it just has cheesesteak and onions in it, and a little bit of sauce and cheese, of course. And then you get a cup of sauce on the side, and you cut it up, and you dip it in the sauce and eat it. It's amazing. But their pizza is great, too. Indie Phantom. Papa John's is very mid, but it was right next to my appointment. Yeah, it's kind of like Wendy's. Like, I can eat at Wendy's, but I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't choose Wendy's if I had any other choice. Like, if it's there and I have to eat, I might go to Wendy's. I wouldn't go below Wendy's now. Although I hear they put something on the fries that's no good now. That's really bad. Indie Phantom. I had cheese only. A lot of people get the dipping sauce at Papa John's, which I don't get. Dip it in ranch. Gross. But yeah, and we have just so much great food in South Jersey. I have a place near me called the Cream Puffery, and all they make are cream puffs. And let me tell you, they're the most amazing cream puffs you've ever had. They have multiple flavors. They have chocolate and vanilla, that's the standard. They have pistachio, and it's out of this world. They have seasonal flavors: banana, strawberry, pumpkin, coconut. I've been pushing for them to get blueberry, but they say it's too expensive to do. Alex Ogle, I just live around the corner from an Italian style restaurant which does good pizza and a Serbian place. What is it with Serbians and good pizza? The worst is when my friend and his real Italian wife visit and they insist on eating at the Italian. Never eat with an Italian restaurant with an Italian. They always complain. Oh, it sounds like you're making a racist comment about us Italians. We have to complain about Italian food if it's not good. Well, at least you didn't take them to an Olive Garden. Indie Phantom, I hate the dipping sauce. A sign of bad pizza. Yeah, it's gross. Who dips? Like if it's sauce, like if it's red sauce that you made the pizza with, and you like a saucy pizza, ha ha ha. That's good. Alex Ogle, and yet they won't eat anywhere else. Well, my older relatives, they are very Italian, and they eat everywhere they go. They eat at Italian restaurants, like everywhere, and they go on trips overseas and all over the world, and it doesn't matter what country they're in, they're going to eat Italian food 90% of the time. Once in a while, when they're on their vacation, they might go to a different place. They might go get seafood, or they might go to a different gourmet place. But 90% of the time, they go to Italian restaurants like all over the world, which is weird because when you leave a certain radius of the Northeast, the Italian food drops off a cliff, with a few exceptions. Like there are a couple of places in LA, they're real high end. They're pretty good. They actually have their bread flown out from New York so they could have decent bread at the table, because you need decent bread if you're having an Italian meal. But I live in the heart of Italian food here in South Jersey. Every pizza place here is better than most Italian restaurants outside the radius. So like if you were trying to get Italian food in, say, Iowa, I could probably take you to one of the worst pizza places in South Jersey and get you a full Italian meal, and it would be spectacular compared to whatever the hell Iowa would make. Now, there are always some exceptions, some transplant who moved out there who knows what he's doing, but you still can't get good bread because of two factors: the humidity and the water. So when you're making pizza dough, you have to let it rise, but in certain parts of the U.S., forget it. The dough won't rise, or it won't rise enough. And then certain water will make it weird too. So here, though, you're in the primo area for good yeasty dough that'll rise. And ideally, if you're going to make a homemade pizza here, what you do is you make the dough and then you let it rise, and then you put it in the fridge overnight, at least for a day, maybe two, and then you make the pizza. Alex Ogle, Super Bowl halftime show pitch: Sydney Sweeney in a bikini jiggles around handing out snacks and covering herself in olive oil. That would be a winner. That was practically the commercials we had back in the 80s. Yeah. Who wouldn't watch that? I remember one halftime show back in the 80s was the Dallas Cheerleaders doing their show. And that was great. I don't remember hearing politics in that. Indie Phantom, today we learned about dough rising. I told you I'm obsessed with food. Yeah, but today our host is Italian, so she's got some homemade Italian food as well as the Super Bowl food. And then people are bringing a bunch of stuff. Now I love Italian food, but then I have my limits. So my girlfriend made what's known as broccoli rabe. And broccoli rabe, you put that on pork sandwiches with provolone cheese, and then you eat it. But I don't like broccoli rabe. It's not my favorite, but it's an Italian thing. I like the pork and the cheese, but I don't like the broccoli rabe. Don the Second is here. Dude, what the heck? I didn't even know it was going on today. I put out a thing. I have to do it early because Super Bowl is happening. And I got to go eat food. Alex Ogle, Sydney Sweeney would make any dough rise. Ba-dum-bum. Indie Phantom, I saw The Housemaid, fun Sweeney, and some nudity from her, of course. I'll have to check out Mr. Skin later. See if she shows up in that. Wow, some nudity from Sweeney. Good for her. Alex Ogle, right. It was minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit earlier and has risen to a balmy 3 now, so I can think about a quick supermarket run. It's too damn cold. It's cold here. What's the temp here? I think it's like 5, which is unusually cold for us, especially over the last few years. No, it's 16 now, so it got up there. But the high today, yeah, we're at the high. The high today was 17, and but it's kind of warming up during the week. We're finally going to get above freezing. But you have to understand, we've had a good, I'm going to say 20 years of mild winters here. It was so mild last year, I think all we got was a dusting. And I don't think it rained. I think it rained twice during events I did last year. One time it snowed, but that was fine. It's been, the weather's been amazing, but we got hit by this cold snap. And the unusual thing about it for this region now is it snowed about 8 inches, and then it froze, and it hasn't melted away. And it's just been the same damn snow, and I'm looking outside, and I hate it. I hate you, snow. I hate you so much. So it just hasn't melted away, which is what the pattern was back in the 70s when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it would snow like early November, stay on the ground till March. But now, it typically barely snows at all, melts the next day, and, you know, at most we get a couple of inches for the year. This year we got 8, and it froze, and now we're in this effing cold snap. You notice they call it a, what is it? They call it a heat wave, but a cold snap. Indie Phantom. HIW was the box office. Oh, him was the box office. Super Bowl weekend is usually the worst. HIW was the box office. HIW. What is HIW? Is that one of the movies? No. Oh, how was the box office? Super Bowl weekend, usually the worst. No, it kind of wasn't that bad. For some reason, Iron Lung isn't coming up on the list still. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it dropped 3rd, and it's at 6 million. So it pushed everything down. So Iron Lung was 3rd, and the box office was 58 million, which in this horrible movie season we find ourselves in is okay-ish. This isn't even the lowest one. This is still better than the Halloween and better than like 2 weeks ago. Last week was 83 million. So, but everything kind of dropped off, and there's a bunch of weird movies on here. All right. Checking out where to watch Super Bowl 60 on live. Live if you want to watch it online. Lindsey Vonn crashed again. Indie Phantom. I heard Iron Lung is not great. Oh, you're the first person to say it was not great. I mean, I didn't hear it was great, but I heard it was decent. I mean, people are talking about it. It's an indie produced film, and it did very well monetarily, I think. Let's see. Newsom declares Super Bowl Sunday to be Bad Bunny Day in California. Trolls Kid Rock for being banned in state. Governor Newsom, I think, is number one. I think he's a complete psychopath, but he is a tone deaf psychopath. Imagine, I can just picture it now. Like Newsom comes into the conference room with his staff, and he's like, I want to do something current for the kids. Well, sir, we have a Super Bowl coming up. What we suggest is maybe you say something positive about Bad Bunny because, Trump is bad mouthing him. Oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's create Bad Bunny Day in California. We'll declare it a day to celebrate a singer. I have no idea who he is. I mean, this is so cringe. Indie Phantom, not sure if Super Bowl is on Tubi this time. I don't know. Here, I'll check it out for you. I don't think it'll be free, but it's on Peacock. Cable cutters, you can tune in to DirecTV, Hulu Plus, Live TV, and Sling TV. DirecTV offers a 5-day free trial, so if you're looking to watch it for free. Of course, Bad Bunny is another reason that even non-sports fans will be tuning in on Sunday night. Seriously? You think someone who doesn't watch football is going to just tune in for Bad Bunny? I guess. So that's about it. I remember the days when it was on TV for free, the Super Bowl. Indie Phantom, it was free on Tubi last year. I love Tubi. I think that's the way this is all going to go eventually. Most of these platforms will be free with commercials. It'll just be TV on your internet. They should push that much quicker and be like Tubi. I think if like Prime did that or Netflix, they would crush the competition. Indie Phantom, nobody is tuning in for Bad Bunny. I don't know. I never even heard of this guy before the Super Bowl, like at all. So, I mean, he's from Puerto Rico, and he sings in Spanish, so I'm sure he has a lot of fans there. But how many people could that be? A couple of million, I guess. But Variety, of course, covering Japan's election. Like, this is what I can't stand about the entertainment media. They suddenly veer into politics whenever they want to like get mad about something. Japan's Takechi scores historic landslide in snap election gamble. So this is the Japanese PM who wants to kick out all the immigrants. Or I should say, the previous administration tried to do what every other country seems to have want to do because of the WEF or whomever. They were trying to like jam the country full of people from other countries. And if you don't know the history of Japan, Japan was usually pretty xenophobic for a lot of its history. So, Japan is pretty damn Japanese. Unlike a lot of countries, which is more of a melting pot, Japan is very Japanese. But recently, or the last administration, tried to jam in a bunch of, foreigners who don't share the same cultural values, right? And so immediately, everybody in Japan got mad because they were doing things like throwing their trash on the street, which is a huge no-no in Japanese society. Like, the Japanese, they have an amazing work ethic. They want their cities and their communities clean. They all work together. I remember when the Japanese earthquake hit, And those guys were out there like the next day rebuilding the bridges and fixing the roads. Within a day or two, things were getting fixed. It was amazing. So you bring in a bunch of people from other countries who have different values, let's say, or and some of them are and in their defense, they're foreigners. They don't know how things work. Maybe they don't know where to put the trash or whatever. But it pissed off a lot of Japanese, and now the entire country's like shifted back. Yeah, kick all these people out. That's what's happening. Gonna happen. I think a lot of European countries in the coming years. Indie Phantom, isn't there a country halftime thing? Well, it's going to be on TPUSA. That one's going to be free, and that's going to be on like YouTube and everything. Counter Less Gay Show. Yes. It's going to be like Kid Rock and a few others. Indie Phantom, Japanese are annoying. I am not an anime fan. Well, not everybody's into anime in Japan. The cool thing, Japan has so many cool things though. So like in Japan, they had like Hooters waitresses before anybody had Hooters. So the idea, I forget the name of it. It's like a specific job. They're not geisha girls, but they're the like Japanese businessmen will go to these bars, and then there'll be a hot Japanese girl there, like serving them beer, but she'll also hang out and talk to the guys, and just be nice to them. So she's sort of like a Hooters waitress, but like not dressed that way, although dressed nice. But then, she's like a hostess for your little table of guys. So, and there's a specific title for it and a specific name, which I thought was interesting. And then I learned a bunch of stuff about Japanese gangsters when I did research for my book, Complete Mafia West Coast. So I know everything about the Yakuza. And that's very interesting. But Japanese society is cool. And then they have these like little alleyways with all these little restaurants you can go and get like sushi and stuff. And they're really tiny. Like everything's small. So they have these sushi bars, and it's basically just wide enough that you can walk in there and like sit on a stool and eat your sushi. And maybe there's like 6 to 8 seats. And they're like, in these little tiny alleys, which in America, they wouldn't last, right? Like be in some alley and then immediately crime would happen and you'd all be brutally murdered. But in Japan, where there's not that much crime and there's law and order, and the society's, pretty conformist, that's just the way things are. So it's kind of interesting. Indie Phantom, stop Japan simping, Tony. I like Japan. If I had to pick a foreign country to visit, it would be Japan. Although I'm afraid of the Godzillas and the radiation. LeMay is here. Hello, you are early. Yes, I'm trying to get ready for the Super Bowl. Your dog news. Wow, this is early. Yeah, I had to get ready for the Super Bowl. I got to go to the Super Bowl thing. Indie Phantom. Sushi is, well, like pineapple pizza. How dare you? Actually, I've seen sushi with pineapple in it. They put anything in sushi. Sushi just means snack, by the way. Your dog news. I love a good ham and pineapple. I don't mind ham by itself. For me, ham is like, I love ham and like mustard. Like I like to eat ham, when you get a big ham and you cut it up. I like to have that on a plate with some mustard. Because to me, ham and mustard go together. The pineapple, I don't get. Too sweet. I like raw pineapple. I don't like the cooked pineapple. Don the Second. Yeah, man, Japan would be cool to visit. It's like visiting the not too distant future. All right, let's check in with Fandom Pulse. Magic the Gathering YouTube influencer pushes trans charity nearly $600K in donations after political rallying cry. Okay, I don't care. I mean, if people want to raise money for trans people, they're allowed to. Whatever. It's a YouTube influencer, so they can do what they want. They don't work for Magic the Gathering, so who cares? Your dog news. Lots of good ghost stories from Japan. Oh, yeah. Well, I put a bunch of them in book 19 of the Pineys. Here it is, by the way. So, in book 19, it ties into a story. Thanks for that segue. That gives me an excuse to tell you the plot. There's a shipwreck in 1901 at the 17th Street boardwalk in Ocean City. There wasn't a boardwalk then, but so in 1901, this ship wrecked, and it was supposedly owned by the Rockefellers, and the rumor is it was full of gold because the Boxer Rebellion happened there, and the manifest apparently was fake, and by wrecking the ship purposely, the crew was then able to recover the cargo and avoid paying any kind of maritime taxes and tariffs. So the Rockefellers possibly smuggled in this giant shipment of gold. But one of the places the ship stopped besides China was Japan. So part of the deal is they had something else on the ship from Japan, and when nobody knows what it was, but I speculated it was supernatural things. So that's the plot of the Pineys book 19. And it takes place in 1989. Indie Phantom. My coworker is heading to Japan next week. He goes for vacation there lots because he's into gay anime gamer stuff. My coworker is heading to Japan next... Oh, that's the same thing. Your dog news. I just got to the part where Hem says he never borrows money. Yeah, that's a funny moment. That it took me 19 books to set up that bit. All right. And in more gay news, Baldur's Gate, Masters of the Universe versus Toxic Masculinity, Starfleet Academy fail, Fandom Pulse Daily Briefing. Let's drop in. So, gay propagandists tap to helm new Baldur's Gate TV series for HBO. So the guy who did The Last of Us is getting more work. He's going to do the Baldur's Gate TV show. This is very typical, I think, in Hollywood. So he did Last of Us, which is based on a video game, turned it into a TV show. Now they have another video game. So they call the same guy. Because, oh, you did a TV show based on a video game? We have another video game. Yeah, do that. And make sure you gay it up, I guess. Don the Second. Bruh. Indie Phantom. Tony, avoid Honey Don't. Ah, really? I finally watched it. There is a scene where Quali beats up a trailer park dude, busts up his gun, and covers up his MAGA bumper sticker with a pussy sticker? What's a pussy sticker? Ah, that's sad to hear. LeMay, failing upwards. Yeah, like Last of Us looked horrifically bad. But I guess it did well for HBO. I mean, it got them a lot of attention. You have to admit that. It definitely got them attention. But Masters of the Universe director on Jared Leto's Skeletor, the embodiment of toxic masculinity. Well, that movie's cooked. Indie Phantom. Every man in the flick is an idiot or an a-hole, including her dad. It seemed like a very girl movie. I did kind of want to see Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza make out, though, because apparently they have a torrid lesbian affair. But the word I heard was one of the Coen brothers directs that movie, right? And he directed it with his wife. And the rumor is they're both super woke. So, yeah, lost another one. Oh, well. I mean, this is probably why the movie didn't do any good. Everything woke turns to S. I mean, how many times do you have to say it? Get woke, go broke. It's just stupid every time. But these people are fanatics that are the members of a cult. You have to remember that. They're in a cult. They're not political. They're in a cult. And cult members believe things that aren't logical. These are the same people who will look at Christians and say, oh, you're in a cult. I can't trust you. You're crazy because you believe in a man in the sky. But those same people believe a bunch of woke crap that's even crazier. So, you know, it's inevitable that all their, especially in media, that all their stuff will fail. Indie Phantom, Jared Leto as masculine? Yeah, in a bodysuit. And Jared Leto, not for nothing, he's like the kiss of death for movies. How many more movies are you going to put him in before you realize, oh, oh, right, maybe it's him. But sure, yeah, call it the embodiment of toxic masculinity. I'm sure that's really going to help your movie from the guys who would actually go to see this thing. I mean, I wasn't going to go see it because, as I've stated many times, He-Man was never good. It was never good. It was always a joke. Now, you could maybe do a full-bore comedy movie with it, but it looks like they're trying to do like a Marvel thing with it. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Indie Phantom, the lesbian stuff is weak, and it's hard to believe a Cohen directed it. Wow. Everything woke turns to S. I mean, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your skills are. Sci-fi author Michael F. Caine explains why woke activists try to take over wholesome stories. I think it's mostly because they live in a, and this is part of the article too, because I read it when I initially talked about it. They live in their own world, their own bubble, and anyone who disagrees with them causes them a problem, right? And part of their bubble is just, it's just not reality. So when something conflicts with that reality, and I have a friend who's like that too, and they don't talk to me anymore because of this, I think. So whenever your opinion, you know, your reality hits a wall, they have to have an explanation of why their world doesn't comport to reality. And rather than saying, well, geez, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe part of what I believe is wrong, they blame it on the other side. No, I'm not wrong. The problem is, you know, families and marriage are an institution that doesn't work. I had a friend who firmly believed that the institution of marriage was evil because gay people couldn't get married. And I just thought it was, and this was before gays could get married, right? Now, I agreed with him that maybe it was unfair. You could argue certainly that it was unfair that gay couples couldn't get certain benefits. But, you know, I said to him, well, the institution of marriage was always a religious one. And, you know, you should be able to, the government shouldn't be involved with it, would be my argument. But he didn't see it that way. Indie Phantom, funny thing is, Chris Evans plays a fraud minister who is into kinky sex s. Leto has a cult FFS. It's like Rose McGowan decided she wanted to make a woker lesbian flick in the Cohen style. Oh, weird. Woke is a serious societal issue. It really is. I mean, it still is. You had a few moments where they were like on the ropes, but now they've regrouped and they're pushing back. And a lot of this stuff was in the pipeline for a long time by people who, when woke was getting the pushback, they were very much still in the planning stages or the production stages of their projects, and they were looking outside and saying, well, that'll die off. The MAGA people will back off soon. And so they're just going forward. These people will literally burn your entire business to the ground and walk away from the ashes and call it a victory. Because again, they're in a cult. They're, you know, as long as they're cult is fine. The rest doesn't matter. The whole world can crumble around them as long as they feel they've done the right thing. They're fine. So they could walk away penniless. It doesn't matter. Well, it kind of matters, but it definitely doesn't matter if other people are hurt. Because if they can point to you and say, well, you didn't believe what I believe, so you don't matter. And right now, there's a YouTuber who's fairly famous. Asmongold mentioned her today. She refused to get political, and she's being canceled for that. So she got pressured on her live stream to make a statement about ICE, and she just sort of blew it off. And now they're destroying her, or attempting to. I don't know if they succeeded. I think she got banned, at least for a time. Mr. Filbert Coffee Esquire, it was all explained in the protocols. The what? Oh. Yeah, let's not go there. I mean, I'd rather talk about Epstein stuff than that. And the Epstein stuff is dark. I've been watching a lot of videos on that. Oh, it's so dark. LeMay, poor Emmy. Yeah, I mean, the whole How to Train Your Dragon thing. They shouldn't even have remade this damn movie. Star Trek Starfleet Academy fails to break into the top 10 shows on Paramount, plus after latest Memberberry episode. So they brought back DS9 in an attempt to get people to watch this thing. Didn't work. And there are guys who are going through every episode, and it just gets woker every episode. Kurtzman Trek is by far the worst. I think it's the worst show ever made at this point. I mean, it's so bad. The Alkalite was bad, but Jesus, this is just embarrassing. Gay Klingon, polyamory, family Klingons, lesbian couples, absolutely no interest in doing any science in your science fiction. I mean, it just goes on and on. Holly Hunter in her bare feet crawling around the captain's chair like she's 5 years old. This show, Stephen Colbert, Robert Picardo, Indie Phantom. Yeah, it's like that vid I saw where these women went into their yoga place and demanded they post anti-ICE signs. I didn't see the video, but I did see a New York Post article about that. That's nuts. But, like, what are you going to do if you run the yoga place, right? You're just going to be like, okay, ladies, yeah, we don't like ICE either. Okay, can you pay your monthly dues now? And then get the F out of here? I mean, I just can't imagine having to run a business and dealing with people like that. That must be the biggest nightmare on 2 feet, right? There's one town in South Jersey that's kind of like that. I can't imagine what it must be like if you have a business there and you have to deal with women like that. And it's mostly women. Again, it's mostly women. It's uncanny how 90% of the time it's women, because this mind virus really preys on the nurturing instinct. Your dog news. Tim Pool said that that was going to happen. Really? Yeah, he's been saying a lot of things, though. He also said there'd be a civil war, which I don't really think there is. It's a simmering kind of civil war, I guess you could say, but Indie Phantom. Holly Hunter looks ridiculous in it. Wait, is Colbert on Star Trek? Yeah, he's an AI digital dean that shows up. So, yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect that he's in that show. I love that Colbert got on that show. Because it's going down in flames, and it's a perfect... The only person they need to throw in that show now, too, is Patton Oswalt. I hope Patton Oswalt does a cameo as an alien or something. There's a shot at it. He loves Star Trek, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's in it, too. Indie Phantom. It was the same video where I realized that not all yoga pants look hot. You know, on the latest episode of this woke track, they have DS9 references, and one of the references is to Dax from DS9, and the character Dax was a symbiote, and it would be like two characters in one. So it would be Dax the symbiote who would remember past lives, and then whoever the symbiote was inside, right? So it was Worf's girlfriend who dies, and then another character, and then so the symbiote's supposed to live 800 years at max, but the show takes place 1100 years after DS9. So they just ignored that rule, and Dax is still around. And then the woman who plays the new Dax is from, I think, Star Trek Discovery, and I think she may have written the episode 2. Indie Phantom, F Star Trek forever now. Put Rosie in it, and Whoopi can return to Star Trek. They ought to put Whoopi in it. She probably could be in it. Her character lives like a million years. Yeah, I would love to see. Put every friggin' woke tard in this show, and let them all go down with it. Let them, so that way we could have clips of them saying the stupidest effing dialogue ever, because I'm sure whatever Stephen Colbert said is stupid as F. So yeah, I would love to see it. I would love to see it, so we could have dumb quote after dumb woke quote. Although Stephen Colbert has the vaccine dance, which will never live down. Every time I see Stephen Colbert, I want Stephen Colbert to come back to X just so they keep posting that damn song every time he tweets. Unfinished Tales, the essential Tolkien collection readers might want to check out before the Similarian. I guess. What is this? His notes, I guess? Oh, more on woke track. Military science fiction and fantasy author John Ringo explains why woke stories and characters suck. Well, I think we all know. Again, they build it around identity and identity politics. Makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. And, you know, a lot of people keep saying to me for the Pineys, oh, you got to get the show, you got to get a show. At this time, I don't think there's any chance in hell of getting a production of the Pineys without them coming right to me and saying, you got to put some people of color in this thing. Because that's the way they'll be. They'll say, you know, you got to put somebody else in here. To which I will say, they're all related and they've lived in the Pine Barrens for 300 years. Like, you know, but whatever. Pendragon is still on Daily Wire. Oh, Spider-Man director Sam Raimi explains how comic book movies can have a new age of success. Yeah, I mean, basically what he says is you gotta, you know, really concentrate on the character. Sure, I mean, you gotta do that for any movie, really. That's why I think Send Help looks like a decent enough flick, but they're not gonna do that. Like, it's too big now. They've got too many people. There's no vision. You know, Stan Lee's gone. There's nobody to steer that ship. No one. Kevin Feige is, I mean, I didn't think he was great at it, but as bad as he was sort of steering it, at least initially. The Russo brothers seem to have a big hand in it and do well. Even what's his face? Josh Whedon did well with the Avengers. Your Dogness, a Piney show would be great. Do it as a web show. Screw the old ways. Make the new media. Yeah. I'd love to do it. Gonna have to sell a lot of books, though. Yeah, we're trying. We're trying. Things are in the works. But it's a long slog to that. A Hollywood Reporter. Amazon MGM goes on offense as Melania gets sacked at Super Bowl box office. I guess they killed the commercial for Melania on the Super Bowl? No. First Lady's documentary fell off a steep 67% in its second weekend, prompting Amazon MGM to go on the offensive and stress that the film is sparking huge interest amongst Prime Video subscribers. It's fine. It's a documentary. Like, it was going to have a drop-off. It wasn't going to have legs. Your dog news. Gotta go. Have a great stream. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm going to have to wrap up shortly myself because... yeah, I can't stand too late today. How to watch the Puppy Bowl live. Oh, that's going to be fun. More of the same stuff. More on Savannah Guthrie and poor Nancy Guthrie. I hope she's alive, but I don't know. If they could save the Israeli hostages, maybe they could save her. This week, Skyrim lead designer said he would be shocked if Fallout TV series is making Bethesda any kind of money that they cared about. How much are video game makers making that they don't care about the money they're making off a hit TV show? That's crazy if true. I gotta think they're making millions, but maybe it doesn't matter. It's just a drop in a bucket to them. It's crazy. Yui Bowl, unhappy with Paul W.S. Anderson's House of the Dead, launches crowdfunding campaign for 23 years later, Return to Zombie Island? Okay. I mean, everybody needs goals, I guess. Over at Deadline, more on the Guthries, more on Lindsey Vonn getting airlifted, more on Paul Thomas Anderson winning the DGA Film Prize for one battle after another. They're going to give it so many Oscars, you're going to vomit, I think. Indie Phantom, Jesus, did you hear that Seth Rogen has a Supergirl cameo in space as a space trucker? Ugh. No. I don't know. I ain't got to see that movie. Indie Phantom, it did great for a doc, but they won't acknowledge it because of the budget, even though it was not really meant much for theatrical. I dispute the budget. There's no way. How could they spend $40 million making a movie where you just follow somebody around with a camera? Alex Ogle, addition to my earlier Super Bowl halftime show pitch, as Sydney Sweeney, in a bikini, hands out snacks and beer, little Joan regales the audience with her off-color jokes and entertainment. She's the American Jimmy Carr. Speaking of Jimmy Carr, I saw Fackham Hall. If you didn't see my review, it was pretty good. Fackham Hall was pretty damn good. I would see another one. I hope they do, another movie about something else. Indie Phantom, Used Bill is pretty nuts on YouTube, and he has his own special strain of TDS. Ryan Coogler cites vital DGA healthcare, speaks of domestic carnage at the hands of our government at the DGA Awards. What the F is he even talking about? Oh, Yui Bowl. Sorry. Stupid. Correct? Yui Bowl is pretty nuts on YouTube, and he has his own special strain of TDS. I'm not surprised. DGA Awards host Kumail Nanjiani jabs Guild over its former D.W. Griffith Award, says Sinners captured the true horror of white people dancing. I don't get that joke. But it's Kumail Nanjiani, who used to be a stand-up guy. Indie Phantom, I will look into Fackham Hall review. Pluribus creator Vince Gilligan says writers are plugging away on season 2. It ain't going to be the pit coming back every year. Oh, okay. Not sure what that has to do with anything, but sure. Indie Phantom. F my spell check is gay. Over at Bleeding Fool. Mystery Science Theater 3000 returns with a Riff Tracks team. So, if you're a Mystery Science Theater fan, Riff Tracks is the guys from that show doing basically the same exact thing they do, except they're not playing their characters. Because I guess they don't own the rights anymore, so Riff Tracks, they basically do the same thing. It's kind of funny. At the Wrap, probably nothing. Olympic figure skater Amber Glenn takes social media break after receiving threats over anti-Trump comments. Okay, she shouldn't get threats. Let me say that from the outset. However, what good does it do to make political comments when you're an Olympian representing the United States? Like, what would be more divisive than your Olympians not just being Olympians? I give even less of an S about a skier and a archery person or whatever athlete she is, skater, than I do about celebrities. Jesus. I mean, at least the celebrities sometimes know how to talk and they're charismatic. If you're an athlete, I mean, just be an athlete. Shut up. Shut your hole. This isn't the bad guys from Germany taking over the country for the umpteenth time. Get your S together and stop wetting your pants every time Trump makes a speech. Okay? You can vote the way you want. You're perfectly free in society. He's kicking out illegal aliens. If you have a problem with that, call your senator, call your representative, and tell him you want illegal aliens in your town every day of the week, I guess, if that's what you want. Stop being a hypocrite and have one in your house then, I guess. Otherwise, shut the F up. God, it's infuriating. Indie Phantom, Yui Bowl also has a woke movie about illegal immigration that nobody watched. The Olympians saying they don't represent the country are a special kind of woke a-holes. Yeah, that's infuriating. Like, it's bad enough we have college students that get caught up in this and turn themselves into commie insurgents. That's bad enough. But you spend your years, and these athletes spend years, sometimes their whole lives, training for the Olympics to represent the United States, and then they have the gall to get into a presser and say, "Oh, I kind of feel conflicted representing my country." Shut up. You don't represent Trump. You represent the country. Okay? That's it. That's it. If you actually lived in a fascist country and you went to a presser and said anything even close to that, you would be gone. You would be gone. I'm pretty sure, but I can't confirm, that when the bad guys from Germany went to the Olympics, their athletes may have had differing opinions, but didn't say anything. I'm sure there have been differing opinions from athletes from countries that have dictators, and they all come out. They all come out and they do their sport, whatever the hell it is, and they don't say boo, because they know when they get home, bad things are going to happen. You have the freedom to do that, and you're being a complete a-hole for doing it. A complete a-hole. No one assumes you're a Trump supporter. No one. But the moment you open your mouth is the moment we know every one of your political positions. And no one cares. We know you're stupid. That's the first thing we know. We know you're stupid because you're dumb for doing it. Then we know all your political positions and how incredibly stupid you are that you probably can't defend them. because most of the positions on the left now are so untenable, so stupid, so mind-numbingly awful that you don't even defend them with any kind of rational argument whatsoever. You just defend them with your emotion. You just cry Donald Trump, it's cruel, kindness, blah, 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 and then you have a breakdown. You people need to stop. Sam Raimi says Rachel McAdams was underutilized in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Well, who cares? What do you want, John? You want to get down? There you go. Well, what do you want? Do you want to? All right, now you want ups. All right, here you go. You can sit on my lap for a while. No one cares about that movie. I didn't even know Rachel McAdams was in it. Poor Rachel McAdams. More on the Puppy Bowl. Trump gives thumbs up to next star deal for Tenga. Would give broadcaster cap busting 80% of TV households. Not sure what that means. Doesn't sound like a good thing. James Gunn's DCU's Paradise Lost said to be dead. Oh yeah, that was a dumb idea, James Gunn. Even when I was supporting James Gunn, I didn't like that idea. It was going to be a soap opera about the Amazons on Amazon Island with no Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman is barely a thing. You're going to focus on the supporting cast of Wonder Woman? I mean, I guess if they were all hot, constantly making out with each other, you might have a shot at it, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't going to be the case. So good. Maybe they're slowly canceling all of James Gunn's projects. More on He-Man. No one cares. More on Zack Snyder's Batman. Really don't care about that. James Gunn's DCU Clayface delayed, pushed to October 2026. This will come out, because I think they already made it, but no bueno. I'm not down with Clayface. Epstein Files reveals Batman emails, premieres, artwork, knives, and something darker. So, back in the day, Epstein went to a premiere somewhere for The Dark Knight. He bought some Batman batarangs, I think. They also talked about the Oscars and apparently had some inside track. Ian McKellen's going to be in the Gollum movie, so that'll be cool, I guess. I thought, no, and not to throw any shade or wish him ill will, but I like Ian McKellen. But he had cancer. He got diagnosed with cancer quite a while ago, and you know, he's kind of up there. I'm kind of surprised he's made it this long, and he seems like to be in good spirits and good health and all. So good for him. No, this one we already did. Geeks and Gamers. Tremel Tillman playing obscure X-Men villain in Spider-Man Brand New Day. I guess. That'll be weird. Not sure how Sony got the rights to X-Men villains. That Park Place. Harry Potter series star claims show will explore more than the books, and that's exactly what fans didn't ask for. Exactly. What they want is a good adaptation of the books. Like a faithful one. I don't know how this is so hard to get. Do you want to go back? Here. Fans of the book, especially Harry Potter, they just want the book. Like exactly as the book. And let me say this again for the Pineys. I want it exactly as the book. Like exactly. Even stuff contradicts each other, just do it. Just do it, because my fans will be like, oh, that I remember that contradicted the other book. Oh, okay. I don't think I have any contradictions that I'm aware of, but there might be one. I don't know. Just follow the books. But sure, HBO. I'm sure the people on HBO's Harry Potter TV series, they probably know better than best-selling author J.K. Rowling, who's made hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, you override that. I'm sure you know Harry Potter better than her. Indie Phantom. You know who is still good at spirits? Is 99, who is in good spirits, 99-year-old Mel Brooks. It's true. I wish he was more involved with his current projects, but it doesn't seem that way. Hulu and Fox released first trailer for The Faithful, Women of the Bible. Okay. Fox and Hulu. That's a weird combo. Because Fox is Fox, and oh well, I guess maybe that's owned by Disney now too. Weird. Leslie Headland, remember her? Harvey Weinstein's assistant who put out The Alkalite. Claims The Alkalite succeeded despite backlash and cancellation. If any show failed worse than The Alkalite, other than Starfleet Academy, I am unaware of it. That show is like failure times 10. Kamala Harris relaunches Campaign Hub with 67 in handle. Even CNN calls it cringe. She is very cringe. All right, and we're going to wrap up with Breitbart. On the bus to TPUSA with country star Lee Brice. He's no right-wing devil because he's red-letter Jesus raised. I have no idea what that means. I just want to say, I want to say unapologetically, I don't know, praise Jesus? He's going to be in the TPUSA halftime show. So there's more of that. Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong tells ICE agents, quit your S jobs at Super Bowl party. Trump will drop you like a bad habit. Stunning, brave, much brave. How old is this guy? He still shops at Hot Topic, dyes his hair green. God, I can't believe I went to one of his shows. I'm embarrassed now. Like, there's so many celebrities, I'm embarrassed I ever patronized them. And he's one of them. I've got several of his CDs. I want to get my money back. Death of the movie star. Celebs paid less and less for Super Bowl ads. AI steals the spotlight. Yeah, it's all going to be AI. It's all going to be AI. And commercials? Sure. That's a perfect way to use AI. Let me get this straight. You can make me a commercial and it costs me what? Probably have it in about 2 hours. I don't know. Charge $100. That's how cheap it'll be. They won't even pay people. They'll just make it. They'll make it in-house. They'll let an intern do it. They'll call the least powerful guy in the office, like somebody's secretary or somebody's assistant, and they'll say, hey, listen, after you're done putting all that stuff in the filing cabinets, I want you to make an AI commercial for the company. And this would have been the job I had back in the 90s, and I would have been like, me? And they'd be like, yeah, it's easy. Just ask the AI to make a cool commercial. And, just make a couple of versions of it, and then we'll show it to the boss. And then I'd be like, oh, I don't think I should be doing this. And they'd be like, it'll be fine. I don't have time to do it. You do it. That's the way commercials are going to be. Indie Phantom. If any crew should demand their names off credits, it's the Alkalite crew. Yeah. Directed by, what the hell's his name? So there was a name you would use. I forget now. Rotten Tomatoes debunks Jimmy Kimmel's Melania disinfo. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a big documentary. The end. Queer singer donates $25K to legal fund for ICE detainees. Heartbroken and angry for Minnesota. It's your money. Melania director Brett Ratner directs Maha-themed Super Bowl ad with Mike Tyson, so that's going to be on today. And theater owners warn of catastrophic collapse over Netflix Warner Brothers merger. That's not why there's going to be a catastrophic collapse. In my opinion, this is all going to be blamed on that, right? So Warner Brothers being bought by Netflix, that's the angle. That's how the studios are going to blame when all the movie theaters start collapsing. because they see the writing on the wall. These guys predict stuff down the road, years, months and years. Indie Phantom, Alan Smithy. That's the name I was trying to think of. Yeah, everybody on that show should be named Alan Smithy. So I think the collapse of theaters is imminent. I just had near here in Washington Township, there's a place called Regal Cinemas. It's been around for years. Everybody loved that place. Although I gotta say, even back in the day when I went there was never very many people there. But they had to close. It's a nice theater. If you want to buy it, I'm sure they'll sell it to you now. It's a big empty building now. So it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So what are you going to do? They'll probably knock it down and put up a bunch of townhouses here. Theaters are done. And I think the people who make the big moves with money probably already know that, can see it down the road, maybe 5 years, 10 years at most. They're making plans for the next thing. This is one of the plans. The plan is to blame everything on Netflix. Because Netflix isn't doing it, but all their competitors are blaming them, right? So the moment, we would have been fine if it wasn't for that Netflix deal. No, it's bullshit. You guys were screwing the pooch. You blew Halloween this year. Halloween was a disaster. All you had to do was put out horror movies. The easiest movie to make in Hollywood. Horror movies. The low budgets. You refused to do it. Instead, horror movies are coming out in Christmas. Dracula just came out now. You should have released this movie as on Halloween. It should be nothing but horror movies at Halloween weekend. Oh, no, but you know better. Oh, no, it's Netflix. Jamie Lee Curtis attacks Trump admin as abhorrent. As an abhorrence, fancy, claims ICE being used as a distraction from the Epstein files. Oh, I don't know about that. She obviously hasn't seen the Epstein files if she's saying that, because it makes a lot of other people look bad. I mean, the UK administration's basically collapsing. Keir Starmer's second in command, chief of staff, basically, I guess he's the second in command. He just resigned over the Epstein files. Keir Starmer's taken a hit, and he was already in the toilet for his approval ratings. Indie Phantom, sad for theaters, but they did seem to be dying even before Netflix. 100%. You want to get people back in theaters, lower the price, put some decent movies out. And they haven't done a damn thing to do either of those things. Nothing. If anything, they've made the situation worse. They've raised the price. They're terrible. All right. I think I got to wrap it here, because Super Bowl is just a few hours away. So what have we learned today? Well, theater is dying. We knew that. The box office was, again, very strange. Iron Lung, though, as I said in the beginning, Indie Fandom, I think you missed this. As I said in the beginning of the podcast, indie movies like Iron Lung could save movies. Because what could happen is, as the industry dies and the money people get out of it, and some of the bigger studios collapse, or they change business models and get into something else, what will be left behind in terms of the talent are people who actually want to make movies. And even though there's not as much money in it, there still will be enough that they can live and make movies, and that's enough for them. That's enough for real artists. You know, for a guy like me, if I can make money and live, I'm happy. I'm very happy. If I can make the stuff I want to make and pay my bills, I'm happy. So as the money goes out, more of those guys come back to making movies, as the people like, Ryan Johnson, Alex Kurtzman. I don't think those guys, honestly, I don't think they care about movies, stories. I think all they care about is their ego and their money. That's just my opinion. And because of that, those people will leave the industry. They'll take their money and go somewhere else where they can make more money or have a different ego experience, or both. And that will get rid of that will purge a lot of the nepo babies and hacks out of the movie industry, because they'll just look at it, oh, it's dying, I don't want to be involved in that anymore, and it'll look like trash to them because they're all rich already. And as that process happens, I think you're going to see hopefully an increase in indie movies that may help save movies, however they're going to be in the future. Those indie movies will save what's left of the movie industry. That's my hopeful message for today. Indie Phantom was watching the new Silent Night, Deadly Night, and there is a sequence where he attacks a Christian Christmas party that is really Yahtzees. Oh. So more woke nonsense. Yeah, I think these indie guys, though, won't be woke. If anything, the woke guys are the kind of people who already have money and will leave. Because they're, again, somebody just mentioned the new Warriors comic that, was it Daniel Kibblesmith, I think that was his name, wrote. And he was seemingly some kind of nepo baby because he had written for Vanity Fair, and then suddenly he was assigned to a brand new Marvel comic. There's only like hundreds of guys trying to break into the industry and love comics and have been writing comics for years. Oh, but let's give it to this guy who writes for Vanity Fair for some insane reason. But anyhow, he gets trashed online. But I think a guy like that, there's just not going to be enough money there. He wouldn't even get shunted over to Marvel because there'll be a new comic industry that there's not a lot of money in it. It won't be a big business thing anymore. It'll be side guys doing, crowdfunding and that's kind of where the comic book industry is headed and is. That's why you have like the Rippaverse and a few others. So I think that's going to be similar for movies. You're going to see more crowdfunding. You're going to see more guys who make movies after video games, but they own everything and they turn down the big guys because the only thing the big studios have to offer you is money. That's it. And if they don't offer you good money, there's no reason to even talk to them. And I've had guys from those supposed big studios offer me money, but then when you look into the deal, you realize, oh, there's no money here unless all these elements come together. Why am I talking to you? Either come up with the cash or go F yourself, because if I got to struggle with you and then cut you in on the money, I'd rather just struggle by myself. And that's why I'm writing books instead of doing comics these days, because once I cut everybody out and started doing my own thing with books, I found out I can make more money and the hustle is my own. So that's the advantage of doing the indie stuff. Now it's harder because you're hustling on your own, but I think that's the way hopefully movies will go, and hopefully it'll be successful. But there will always be, media outlets there who will look to destroy you. Anywho, I think that's a hopeful message. Now, don't concentrate on the destroy you part, but concentrate on the indie guys. I think they're due for a comeback. It might take a while, and it might be harder to find good movies to see, but they'll be there. I am hopeful. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan, and Guest Dog, who's wandering back there. I got to get to my Super Bowl party, so wish me and my stomach good luck as we eat lots and lots of highly caloric food, and I pretend to like football. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.